There are so many wallpapers on the market, and I don't just mean whether they're patterned, whether they're striped, whether they're shiny. I mean there's so many different types of wallpapers in how they come to you and how they need to be adhered to the wall. So the three main ones that I've come across are the self-adhesive. That's right, just like when you're covering your school books or your children's school books for school, where you peel off the back and stick it on. That is number one. Number two is where the wallpaper comes to you as literally a paper. And this then either needs glue adhered to the back before it goes on the wall, or directly to the wall and then the wallpaper up. You will get clear instructions with every roll of wallpaper that you buy. And the third type is this type, where it actually comes pre-pasted. I know, so the glue is actually impregnated into the back of the paper and you simply activate it with water. For me, to be honest, this is one of my favorites because there's a lot less mess when you don't have a big pot of glue. But the one thing that never changes with all of these wallpapers is the importance of measuring. Wallpaper is an investment. A decent wallpaper is an investment, and it's also an investment in your time or your money to get someone to lay it on the walls. So I always recommend, it is such a tradie thing to say, but I always recommend measure twice, measure 3 times, and cut once. And if you're unsure whether you've got it sorted, always make sure that you do 2 pieces, stand back, reassess before you go and cut an entire wall's worth. And this is the point where you also need to be reading the instructions about the pattern repeat that comes with the wallpaper. Sadly, not all our walls are plain sailing, and there are always obstacles in the way, just like this GPO. Now, you can actually wait until your paper's on the wall and cut around it, but I find it so much easier to cut my wallpaper when it does not have the glue on it or it's not wet. So I do like to measure where the obstacles are in regard to the paper, mark it out and make a few small incisions before it gets gluey, messy and wet. Alright, so I have the first run of wallpaper up, which is realistically the easiest when you're doing a pattern repeat. Now, I did some research and this wallpaper has a 64 centimetre pattern repeat, which is like it's nearly 2 feet. That makes me really old, hey? So, the reason that this is so is the pattern is really quite large, which means the pattern repeat is going to be greater. If you have a smaller repeat in your pattern, then you have a smaller pattern repeat distance. Now, for those of you wondering what it is I'm talking about, what that means is from where you cut your paper, you need to allow at least the pattern repeat plus the length you need on your subsequent rolls, so that where the pattern touches the edge of the paper like this, you'll have the right, I guess, level of paper to match up with it. So I always get super nervous on my second roll of wallpaper because I am not a wallpapering professional. I always get super nervous as to how well I'm going to be able to match the pattern. You can naturally go for a non-match. So this paper comes with instructions that if you want, you can literally roll it this way for one and then upside down for the other. So it would be actually a mismatched pattern. Did I just get the wrong end? No. So when you're wallpapering like this, often they come with a squidgy. I use a credit card or a driver's license. I attach the top edge, and you can see I haven't pulled the whole backing off it yet because that would be dangerous, just like when you got into a mess covering your kids' school books. So I like to have one hand underneath and I slowly pull the backing down. It's It's a bit of a fiddle, but I slowly pull the backing down as I go down with the credit card. Just nice and slowly. That's good. This, I must admit, is one of the messiest ones to apply for me, and that could just be because I am a bit of a grub. So when you're using a wallpaper that you apply the glue to the back of the wallpaper, you will often find that it has a period of time that comes on the instructions where the wallpaper needs to book, I think they call it. And generally I've found they're between 3 and 10 minutes that you leave the paste on the back of the wallpaper with the wallpaper folded in upon itself. This allows the glue to penetrate into the paper and it stops having any shrinking or expanding problems once you get it on the wall. So paste away. I do find that my table gets quite gluey because I'm pasting all the way to the ends of the paper, which can get a little bit annoying because when you lay your next piece on, you always end up with glue on the front of your paper. So the secret is have a clean bucket of water and some sponges and always clean down your table in between pieces. Once your paper is booked and ready to go, you unroll it and get it on the wall. I do like to make sure my hands are clean whenever I'm handling my wallpaper and always make sure that I have as little glue as possible. You never ever want your glue to dry on the front of your paper. So I use a large sponge that is not wet, but it definitely is damp, and wipe down the front of the wallpaper. This helps get rid of any bubbles, it helps smooth it on, it makes sure it's clean, and it also makes sure that no glue dries on the front of that paper. Then it is as simple as press repeat. One of the best things I can recommend when you're wallpapering, no matter what type of wallpaper it is make sure you have a very sharp blade. The second wallpaper that I'm popping up is very different to the first. The first thing is it's wider, so we don't have to worry so much that we're going to miss the gaps through the battening, and it's also not already self-adhesive. So we actually need to use good old-fashioned glue for this wallpaper. Now, I don't mind using glue with the wallpaper. I don't mind the non-self-adhesive. I actually find them easier to lay. But one thing I do enjoy is I like using a pre-mixed glue. Look, it's quite thick. It doesn't tip out, and I find that this is much quicker and much easier than the glue for wallpaper that you can mix up. So you can get one that comes as a powder and you mix it up with water to make your own paste, but I love this because I know the proportions are perfect, the consistency is perfect, so it's going to be perfect. When you're popping this on, it can get quite thick because it literally is like glue, funnily enough. So make sure that it isn't, you know, a centimetre thick, and I generally cross hatch it to make sure I've got plenty of area. You don't need to like now run for the wallpaper. You've got a little bit of time before that sets. I read the instructions. It said measure and cut, so I've drawn my line. Yep. I measured down both sides of the paper so I knew it was square at the end. Yep. Although, because we're going to cut on wall, it's not as important. Mm-hmm. And then it said spray. Wait till you see this. We've got matching spray guns. Yes. It then said spray an even coat, fold it onto itself, and allow, apparently, the professional term is booking. Mm-hmm. Allow it to moisten the glue and expand and relax the paper. Yep.
Sounds right to me.
Oh, okay, good. I'm glad you know what you're doing. So, first thing we're going to do is I have a line down here somewhere.
Yep. Cardboard's helpful.
Oh my gosh, it's so helpful. I was telling Dan previously, guys, that I'm usually a very hobby wallpaperer, because it's certainly not my craft, and I always cut the wallpaper on the plastic table which means that I blunt my knife every stroke. Okay. All right.
Sure we're not. We've got the mist on, yeah.
Okay. So apparently we just missed it up.
Yeah, I'd say not too wet. Just want to get a nice little...
What happens, do you reckon, if we go too wet?
Probably gets all...
Mushy?
Yeah, mushy and be harder to work with, I reckon.
Okay.
We can always apply more water, we can't apply less.
Oh my god, you're such a common sense. So it says fold it onto itself.
Both sides, you reckon?
Yeah, apparently.
Yep.
And we wait 3 minutes. So the water doesn't dry out. Ready? So apparently we just...
Wait.
Apparently we wait.
Yeah. Close enough.
If I had my spirit level.
There you go, Siri, we're good to go.
Okay. Okay, let me get that undone for you. Okay, tall person. Okay, so match the right up with the line on your right hand.
Yep.
Go further to your left. How good is it having a tall person? I think we're winning.
I feel like we're winning. It looks like we're winning, so we are winning.
I'm feeling like a winner.
Yeah.
There you have it, all the different types of wallpapers and my top tips for laying each of them. Now, all you need is to find some inspiration and get papering. If you haven't already seen my Carrington House 1880s Heritage Renovation, click the link above or down below in the description and get across and check it out, because I tell you, I've used more wallpaper in that property than in a wallpaper shop. Thanks for joining me. Did you know I wrote a book all about creating wealth through renovating property? I've popped a link below in the description so you can check it out. See you next time and enjoy.